The character is very, he's written very versatilely.
What can you tell us about what's, again, I don't want you to get in trouble or give anything away, but last we saw, for spoilers for people for season 1, Kreese comes back, and then it looks like him and Johnny are going to form some type of relationship, and in the trailer we see that Kreese is definitely involved in these new students. What can you tell us about, too, that you don't want to give anything away, obviously, but what can we know?
Well, the Kreese is written with lots of texture in this season, and there's a lot of surprises coming within the relationship between he and Johnny. And you got to remember that Kreese, which comes out somewhat in the teasers, but Kreese cares about two things, and you would never know this from the movies, but he cares about how much he cares about his love for Johnny Lawrence. It's his adopted son, and as Johnny said many times, Billy said, Kreese is a father figure to him. He never had.
Abusive, choking him out in a parking lot.
I know, but
We've all been there.
I wish I could say something about that because it's addressed in the show.
I'm not surprised. They address everything. Those guys. I love it.
They use footage that's what's so brilliant. I
love them.
We'd all complain of these long hours, and we'd be shooting episode 8, and we have to do pickups in episode 4. Then the next day we'd be shooting episode 9, and we have to pick up stuff from episode 5 because all the shows were written so well, but they were overwritten. Yeah. And no one objected to it because they were written so well. Right. And so you'd work your ass off, And we complain. Billy and I go to work together 6 in the morning, go to bed at 4:30, get up at 4:30, and we'd be doing 3 shows, 3 crews in a day. So you could be doing episode 8 properly because that's what you're up to, but then you got to pick up scenes in the afternoon from episode 4 and then episode 2.
Right.
And you're playing 3 people.
Right.
And yet it didn't matter because they were not only writing, they were rewriting, they were directing, they were producing, and at night when they had time, they were editing. So you could never complain about anything.
Did you when you got back on set, did you feel that magic right away?
Yeah, what was interesting for me, and I went in there to do basically that one day when I come in episode 10 and I say, the real story's only just begun.
I got to tell you, when that happened, I was here and I jumped out of my chair and my headphones ripped my computer off my desk. So I was watching because I was trying to finish as quick as I could because we wanted to review it, but also I ingested it so fast. I loved it so much, and I jumped up and my computer flies and I had to catch my computer so it didn't smash on the ground because I was so excited when you showed up.
Great, thank you.
And we all grew up loving these movies so much, in the 80s, and similar to Billy's character, Johnny, you were both badass villains that we were kind of scared of and we loved to watch. Can you, without spoiling anything for season 2, can you kind of tell us why do you think his character is the way he is?
Johnny's?
Yours.
Oh, okay.
Mine.
Sensei Kreese's,
Sensei Kreese, was always allowed. Let me just finish that answer to that question.
Please.
I'll go right back. So, what were we addressing?
I think it was, you said 2 things that you care about Johnny.
Oh, yeah, he cares about Johnny as his son.
Right.
But then he cares about Cobra Kai.
Right.
And the integrity of Cobra Kai, which is why we have so many wonderful transitions going on this season, is that Cobra Kai is somewhat violated.
Yeah.
Can't go any more than that. But it's really interesting how Johnny deals with it and how Kreese deals with it. And it's fascinating because you'd never know that he cared about Johnny or Cobra Kai that much because all you're addressing in the movies is his being triumphant or not.
You don't have enough time in the movies. You don't have enough time.
There's not enough time for and the backstories were very much what you just asked me. The backstory for that was that he created the no mercy and mercy for the weak concept because when he was in high school, college, all of that, he was able to win. He was able to be triumphant, and he was never lost. Then he went, as so many of our boys did, went into Vietnam and wasn't allowed to win, as so many of our soldiers experienced.
And that's where he met Terry Silver, right?
Yeah, that's where he met Terry, and the bottom line was that he swore he would never lose again. Mm-hmm. In other words, the no mercy concept came from, young boys from the VC would come and ask for chocolate, ask for food, and we had a platoon of men. We would gather around trying to help him, and the kid was lined with dynamite, just like in Afghanistan, and boom, we'd lose soldiers.
So he has a fool me once type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, it's a total no mercy thing
Yeah.
because it mercy is for the weak. You know,
Right.
the kid is weak. He he's indoctrinated. With communism. He's strapped with dynamite. And he blows up our boys.
Right.
Well, we can't have that anymore. I mean, he goes, and so he comes back, creates the dojos, and the dojos will. The concept is, mercy is for the weak, and we can't lose. Someone confronts you, an enemy confronts you. A man confronts you in the streets. He's your enemy. An enemy deserves no mercy.
What is the problem, Mr. Lawrence? Sorry, I had to. had to go right back into it. But the other thing that we mentioned, and John, I'll let you just because we mentioned Terry Silver. He's mentioned briefly in season 1. Is there mention of Terry, or I have to wait for that?
No, there really isn't.
Okay.
There really isn't. I think that they've got a backstory. They've got backstories of why John Kreese became a bully, which has never been addressed.
Yeah.
And also they go back in Vietnam, and they're going to go back and do flashbacks of that. So when I went to them after season 1 and we were very successful, and I said, well, these are my plans. And I met with Army Rangers. I met with
That's
these
cool.
killers.
Yeah.
I mean, I met
Do you still
with
have that picture?
Yeah,
The one with the.
I've got the picture and
Awesome.
I've got the standalone full-size
Oh,
deal.
do you really?
In black
That's
and white.
fantastic.
Yeah. So
Incredible.
I had it. I had a plywood. A carpenter put plywood all
That's
around
awesome.
on the backside, so we could move it around because
Yes.
people were always wanting to borrow it.
Of course. Yeah. Do they use it?